Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name is Austin Van Churen.
And my name is Patrick Ferry.
And as always, welcome to our show. So guys, we're back after a very tumultuous world on fire. The world is burning. International break, Pat, and we're excited to talk about some club football.
That's right, Austin. There was some light at the end of this dark tunnel we had during the international break, and really looking forward to talking about these performances because that Canadian border rival was awful. It was the first loss to them in 20, 30 years or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 34 years. So, a brutal game, brutal outcome. Can't say we didn't see it coming. But with that being said, we've got a lot of great performances to talk about this week, which it feels like, Pat, we finally have something to talk about. I feel like we've been, talking about the same few people the last few weeks. But
that's right, Austin.
Changes today.
Yeah, so
yeah, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start it off. On some positive notes. An American player in the Premier League, made a great cameo and got an assist to the assist over the weekend. So playing his way back into the 11 there.
And we also want to talk today about a young Ya who's making a name for himself in Germany. And finally,
and another player in the Netherlands picking up his first 2 assists in the Eredivisie. So all that and more in this week's episode. All right, guys. So to start off this episode here, we are going to head over to Chelsea in the Premier League, where Christian Pulisic came off the bench and made a nice cameo in the 64th minute there. Actually helped Chelsea earn a 1-0 win over DeAndre Yedlin's Newcastle. So again, some Americans going against each other in the Premier League is always exciting, Austin.
That's right. And Christian looked completely, revived from his performances with Chelsea before the international break. And then also, some of the performances, and I don't want to say they're really that bad, but just maybe, less than what we've seen from Christian in the past over the international break.
Yeah. And that was a tough scenario too, Austin, because again, don't want to harp too much on that over the break, but just he looked, kind of defeated, especially according to Greg, some flu-like symptoms. I'm not sure what the case is that, but they subbed him off, and he was really disappointed. You could see the anger and frustration in his eyes and his face. So he definitely had something to prove coming back to Chelsea, and I think he did it.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to tell us about that 27 minutes and kind of what he did in it?
That's right, Austin. So again, I just want to kind of talk about that second half cameo where he was actually involved in the build-up play for Chelsea for that assist. So again, Pulisic actually linked up with another young, bright Chelsea player, Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's again kind of coming into great form here. And he again crossed it over to I think it was Alonso, Marcus Alonso, who actually finished the goal home and put Chelsea up 1-0. And also, just during the game, Pulisic looked really lively and was robbed of a direct assist by a fellow American, DeAndre Yedlin, who made an incredible clearance, to stop Tammy Abraham from putting the ball in the back of the net. So, kind of funny scenario there, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, when you saw that goal, like in real time, you really thought, DeAndre didn't have a chance to get there, and it was a clear assist for Pulisic, clear goal for Chelsea. And at the last second, he just comes diving in, and I don't think Tammy Abraham could believe it. I think there's some like highlights going around Twitter, and you could see like his reaction after the save or the block, however you want to put it.
Yeah,
in disbelief, which is
it was funny, Austin. It was like he looked over like, what just happened?
Yeah,
but yeah, it was crazy. And again, just wanted to actually read one of the quotes, Lampard, just because of all the news and media with all the attention on Pulisic, especially during that tumultuous time with the national team. But again, not just blaming it all on him. It was definitely a culmination of the system and the other 11 players on the field. But,
you're a Greg hater.
not a Greg hater, but just throwing a little shade there. It was definitely disappointing.
Okay.
Didn't see many players buying in there. But yeah, I want to go back to Frank Lampard, who's kind of seems like he's really getting this Chelsea team gelling and together, this young core. And he mentioned he was pleased with Christian just because it's such a hot topic, being with the national team, and then the price tag and his status here, just kind of being that American kind of hero, you could say. But everyone kind of got carried away in the short term, which he mentioned. And then the long term, he's kind of come here and he's just turned 21, working hard in training. And it's good to see him perform and turn up a good performance today. And there's definitely more to come. So that's definitely encouraging words from the manager.
Yeah, and it seems like, there's always, fairly or unfairly, something to be said about Pulisic after the game. So I don't know if it's a good trend to keep hearing Frank talk about Christian every game. But yeah, I mean, that's positive. I think Frank is not expecting a lot out of Christian, but he has this expectation for him. And I think he's forcing Christian to kind of rise the level of play we've, kind of seen him get on the field with at times for Borussia Dortmund in the past, where maybe, there was, maybe his play wasn't stellar, but he still got play time. Where at Chelsea, it's been made clear to him that, if he doesn't raise his game to kind of a higher level than he did at Borussia Dortmund, he's not going to get on the field. So, I think that's only good for Christian. I think that'll raise his overall level of play. It'll make him, sharper, make him more focused when he is on the field. And I think those are all, good things that will help him kind of grow his game and become even better of a player. I don't know.
I couldn't agree with you more, Austin. I think that was very well said, just because, again, he definitely still has all the tools and tangibles, and it looks like his mentality is, this is a huge, obstacle or point, crucial point in his career, like we keep mentioning, and just being able to take some of these, these hard hits and being able to kind of climb up that mountain and get back to the form he was and that success. You can certainly see it, especially with this cameo appearance, that he is, willing to fight for his place in the team. And it's not like, not to say Chelsea is doing bad, but what I mean is, they're not like Man City where they're, or Liverpool, like dominating the league and kind of up at the top of the table there. So I don't see anyone almost, ahead of Pulisic, solidified starting for the rest of the season, if that makes sense. I could certainly see him playing his way back into the fold. And it's not like, obviously Lampard has his preferences, but it definitely seems like Pulisic could, open that up. And there's definitely room to jump into that starting lineup there.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the teams Chelsea will play in the Premier League aren't as good as people like make them out to be. The Premier League is supposedly the most competitive league in the world, and one of the best leagues, if not the best league in the world. But there'll be games against some of the lower teams in the league where I think Christian will definitely be able to stand out against. Newcastle's a team that we'll see where they finish at the end of the season, but they might not be one of the best teams. So to say that he has no place to play for Chelsea or even start for Chelsea in certain games, I think is just kind of ludicrous or outlandish. There's clearly or he's clearly above the competition of a lot of teams and players in the Premier League. It's not like he's not a Premier League player. He's, in my opinion, he's clearly a Premier League player and should get plenty of play time this year.
Yeah. Again, couldn't agree with you more, Austin. I think we'll see more of him, and hopefully he gets that first goal. I know he has a few assists. I think it's 3 domestically, but we definitely want to see him kind of score, and I think he's eager to as well. So, I guess just kind of shifting over to Germany for another exciting player, Austin, that performed really well over the weekend.
That's right. And, speaking of players wanting to score, this player did score this weekend, and that would be Josh Sargent. So Josh started and played 73 minutes for Werder Bremen in their 1-1 draw with Hertha Berlin. And Josh got their only goal on the day in the 7th minute. And it was off some nice 1-2 play where, he passed the ball out wide to the right. That player took a touch and a dribble forward and then played a good cross back to Josh, who found some space kind of at the top of the box, took a shot, got deflected, but went in the goal. And, put Bremen up early in the game. And, at points in this game, they really started to gel and look like, or I would say just play better than I've seen them play at certain times this year. And, that was really encouraging. And I think Josh was, I wouldn't say a big part of it, but he did play a good role in a lot of the, how should I say it? Like linking up with his teammates, combining in midfield. And that's something that we saw, last time before the international break when we talked about him. He's starting to get very comfortable in Bremen's system. He's starting to play with more courage and take more risks. And in this game, like I said, he did really well combining with teammates. And there was this really nice sequence, and I really wish we could put it in our video, Pat, because
copyright.
The Bundesliga doesn't let us, use highlights or use any of their game footage. So unfortunately, we can't. But there was a really nice sequence that Bremen played. I think it was early on in the second half, where they literally had like 8 to 9, like one-touch passes in a row. And Josh had this really nice, like cheeky, side-footed pass, and it was like, I don't know if it was a no-look pass, but it was a very cheeky side-footed pass. And it was just like I haven't seen Bremen play that freely this season, and it was really good to see that. And I think Josh kind of plays to that style really well because he's good at linking up with players and playing, those one-touch passes. So I was really encouraged. I think Josh is starting to really come into his own at Bremen and really vibe with the team, gel with them, and just starting to really look comfortable, Pat.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing, like you said, just that vibe and gelling. And especially, I know kind of coming over to Germany a while back, but it's always a huge, period of, adapting to the environment and a new culture. And yeah, like you said, just his play suits so well. And when he gels with the team, or it seems like he's, gelling with the teammates, being able to play those one-touch passes or just kind of link play together. It's awesome to see. And again, I know there's some injuries like you mentioned, but he's definitely seizing his opportunity. And it seems like, the manager's really, really happy with him. And hopefully we can kind of keep continuing to see him score some goals in the Bundesliga, because if you can put more of a consistent season together, he can certainly, overtake Zardes for the U.S. spot.
Yeah, and you could argue maybe he did in this last window.
Yeah, you could argue that.
Score. So, I guess he scored in the Cuba game, but, obviously we didn't score in the Canada game. But, and I think, going back to Bremen, I think Florian Kohfeldt really values what he brings, offensively combining with teammates. And I think that's kind of a reason why he's still in the team. He obviously scored this past weekend, but, I think he brings certain qualities that some of their other strikers like Claudio Pizarro and Johannes Eggestein don't really bring. And, he didn't really take advantage of his opportunities that he got on the field last year, Pat. And it seems like this year he's, taken his game to the next level. Like I said, he's just looks so much more comfortable playing on the field with his teammates. And it's a big switch to go from, obviously playing in America, but not even playing for, a professional team, to then going to Germany and, starting in the Bundesliga. That's
right. Some club in St. Louis.
Right. Yeah. Not even I don't think they're even St. Louis, Scott Gallagher is not a USL team. So it was literally, a club team in St. Louis.
Crazy, Austin. It's crazy.
But I don't think Josh is, there's a lot of room to grow still for Josh. The one thing he really needs to improve is his stamina, because he looked very tired at the end of this game. And like I said, he only played 73 minutes. So, he definitely needs to work on his stamina, maybe prioritize what he does in games better and, be smarter with when he uses his energy. But, I like what I've seen from Josh so far. I think he's got some room to grow, and it's good to see him making the most out of his opportunities and, starting to grow into a Bundesliga starter and Bundesliga regular, I think. So, yeah, all good things, Pat.
Yeah, that's all we really want, in our, striker pool, a Bundesliga striker. That just sounds perfect. Music to my ears, Austin.
Yeah, we just a top 5 league striker in general.
That's right. Take the storm. But if you don't mind shifting over to the Netherlands.
That's right.
We have an exciting player, Sergino Dest played the full 90 and had his first 2 career assists, which is great, and a 2-0 win against RKC, if I'm pronouncing this right, Woolwich. So it's just kind of a lower Eredivisie team. But again, Dest looked fantastic. And just kind of want to go in the sequences of events that kind of happened here. In the 46th minute, Sergino actually kind of was on the right flank and had a nice cross, kind of floated over the goalie near the 6th yard and almost looked like it was going in. And Tadic was there to pick up the goal there. And the second one, Austin, kind of came after a cluster of clearances. RKC was trying to clear the ball away, and Dest again found himself up the field in the center of the pitch near the 18 and kind of laid it off for Quincy Promes, who had an amazing, incredible shot out of the right side there. They got the game-winning assist there, Sergino Dest. So again, Ajax continues the hot streak, and Sergino Dest really looks comfortable with the team, and definitely looks like he's solidified his spot.
Yeah, and what was the one stat you said off camera to me? You said he never lost the ball in this game?
Just going over, it looked like just his dribbles and interceptions, he was 2 of 2, and of the duels, he was like 8 of 8, something like that. So he completely dominated, didn't have any percentages off of 100 from those few, which is pretty incredible. Granted, again, it wasn't the best, the top side, but still, right. A team in the top division there.
Yeah, he's taking care of business. Again, another player who's making the most of his opportunities. 2 assists in a game. That's pretty cool to see. And it's just like, we just need more players to find themselves in this situation or work towards getting in this situation, and taking those chances when they come to them. It's just such a good thing to see. And Sergino, obviously, we don't know if he'll be playing for us in the future, but, if we could get more players to, take advantage of opportunities and, really insert themselves into a position and make the most of it, that's, music to our ears and, something more of.
Completely awesome, just because, so again, it's just like, again, you can just see him, improving on some of the skill sets, especially as a defender, including some of the stats I mentioned. And again, playing to his strengths, getting up and getting those assists. He's just improving at a rapid pace, it seems like, especially this season. It's still so early, which is incredible. And again, like you mentioned, the question we all want to know, we haven't heard anything yet. He was kind of enjoying his time relaxing away from international duty. I'm sure he still kind of has a lot of things on his mind and, players and, within his inner circle to talk about what the best step is for him. But again, if he doesn't choose us, that's tough, and still wish him all the best, Austin, in his career. But if we can, like you said, develop kind of those type of players and take those chances and, go to a great academy, a great program like Ajax, and like we're seeing some more Americans in this trend happening. But, just kind of the style of defending and just those modern fullbacks, you could say, or outside backs, he's really developing into one, and hopefully we can produce more of those.
Yeah, and I mean, we have, prospects coming up at the left back position and some at the right back position. But yeah, just the fact that Sergino is so comfortable playing with the ball at his feet makes him so unique. And there was some rumors of Barcelona interest, but I'm not sure exactly how true the rumors are, Pat. So I'm not even going to really touch that.
Well, that's intriguing, though. I actually didn't hear about that, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it was apparently from not so reliable source over in the Netherlands. So, I don't want to, go too far into that. But, hey, if you went to Barcelona, that's kind of cool. I don't think we've ever had an American play for the full, Barcelona national team. Obviously, right. Conrad de la Fuente in the academy right now. But
no one for the first team.
Yeah. Hey, Christian Pulisic maybe one day. Or Sergino Dest. Hey, we'll see.
One day.
Yeah. But so great to see Sergino, making the most of those chances. And come on, choose us, Sergino. But
final pitch.
Yeah, exactly. So now keeping with the theme of young Americans making the most of their opportunities, we want to let you know or talk about Uly Llanez right now, who is, another American embodying that, ideal. And Uly came back from injury, which he's been, dealing with and rehabbing for, I would say, the better part of the past month, excuse me. And came back for Wolfsburg's U19s, was subbed on, I believe, in the 59th minute of their game, and scored the game tying goal as well as the game winning goal. So, Wolfsburg's U19s won this game 3-2 over the weekend, and that also brings Uly's goal tally to 8 goals in 5 Bundesliga U19 Bundesliga games, excuse me. So, a big, start to the season for Uly Llanez, who, we liked what we saw, Pat, at the U20 World Cup, and it looks like that form that we saw over the summer is, carrying into the season over in Germany, and he's quickly becoming a top prospect for Wolfsburg.
Yeah, and Austin, that's just awesome to see, because just at the rate of he's scoring goals and just coming back from that injury to get right back into the full swing of things here and just come on a cameo appearance and dominate like that. Again, that's really exciting and promising, and everything that I feel like we're reading and seeing, whether it's on Twitter or kind of the other soccer experts there in the world that follow the American youths, he is definitely one to keep your eyes on, and it'd be really exciting. Maybe it's kind of a more at the end of the season or next year, but at this rate, who knows if he can kind of step up his game to the next level.
Yeah, and you bring up 2 really good points. So the first one is, like you said, he's gained a lot of attention over the past few months. And I kind of liken his situation and liken what he's been doing to, some of the other players we've seen go abroad to Germany and have success at that U19 level. Christian Pulisic was one who had a lot of success, scored a lot of goals, I believe when he was only 17 in the U19 Bundesliga. We also had, Weston McKennie didn't score as many goals, but also I believe it was Schalke U19's captain and was a player that generated a lot of buzz at that U19 level. Another player just last year, Sebastian Soto, scored a lot of goals at the U19 level and really put himself in a position just because of that to get, promoted to the first team and get an opportunity. And obviously, this year, certain situations with the contract have kind of influenced, I feel, Hannover's reasoning for not playing him, which is disappointing.
Yeah, a little unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. But I think Uly's kind of following in all the paths of, some of these Americans we've seen go to Germany and play in the U19 Bundesliga. So, it's really exciting. We've seen some other players who've gone to Germany, just to name a few names, kind of like, Zian Jones was one who didn't really score at an incredible rate and, ended up coming back to America and is now playing in the USL. Nick Tadagui was a player who had a lot of promise and people were excited about, but he didn't really put up, crazy numbers in terms of goals or assists. So I definitely think Uly is doing something that will, or that has set other players apart in the past. And that's really exciting for me. So, I'm excited about that. And, Pat, the other point you brought up was that, this could lead to a shot with the first team, potentially, making his Bundesliga debut. And I think, Pat, I think you're spot on. I think at the moment right now, and obviously I'm not as well versed with, the rest of Wolfsburg's academy, but just from the buzz he's generated and, seeing some of the other players in some of these highlights and games that we've been able to watch from the rest of his team, Uly kind of looks like, I would say, the best player on that U19 team for Wolfsburg. And, and being that top prospect at that level for Wolfsburg, that's got to be giving him, a lot of interest from, people within the team, like the Wolfsburg first team, and, like the front office and all that. So I do think he will get an opportunity with that first team, to at least train with them at points in this season. And, then it's kind of up to Uly to make the most of those opportunities. And, Pat, you were saying that we may see him by the end of the season or even next season. I think, the best time for him to see game time would probably be towards the end of this season. It depends on where Wolfsburg go and where they finish in the league, because they're having a very good season, but they also have a very deep team at attacker. So, that makes Uly's work a little bit more a little, he's got his work cut out for him a little bit harder of a job to do. So we'll see what happens. Anything's possible, Pat. Could be some injuries that come up.
That's right.
But yeah, I think he could also, play a role in that winter training session too that they always have in the Bundesliga. And yeah, kind of like Gio Reyna, those are the two players I feel are most likely to make that Bundesliga debut next. And, we'll just have to wait and see.
That's right. They're up next, Austin. I guess one last point I just wanted to bring up quickly, like you said, was really important. You can see kind of in relation to the players that haven't quite lived up to the expectations in the academies in the Bundesliga and rising, and the trending that you can see, like you mentioned, Pulisic, McKennie, some of the other players that are on the rise. Llanez is just, falling right into that suit, exactly like you said, and it's really exciting to see right before our eyes. Just, again, another player that is performing at such a high level, and anything that's kind of thrown at him, some injuries and challenges, doesn't seem to faze him at all. And it looks like he really has the right mentality and, again, the skill set to be a great professional.
Yeah. Now, if he does, let's say he makes his Bundesliga debut kind of at the end of the season. Do you think he's deserving of getting a look with the USMNT? Pat, what do you think?
Ooh, put me on the spot there. Yeah, I mean, personally, I would say so. I think he should. I wouldn't say maybe kind of throw him in right away. Maybe kind of a Paxton Pomykal scenario where maybe he's just involved in the camp or so, or just kind of with the team. But I don't know. Maybe that's my opinion. Maybe I'm thinking too, or putting him too high on a pedestal there or anything. But I just also don't think that's what Greg's mindset would be, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, true. Now, do you think, barring us making the Olympics this summer, do you think he should be on that Olympic team if he makes his Bundesliga debut?
Yeah, Austin, I would definitely have to say an affirmative yes there. I think
if he makes his Bundesliga debut, okay.
Yeah, if he makes his Bundesliga debut, and maybe that's tough too. I mean, if he's scoring goals at a alarming rate and he's dominating the U19s, I mean, I don't know I think he would be in consideration. Maybe not the top striker, but what do you think? Should he be considered?
I think he should definitely be considered. We don't have too much great attackers at the U23 level. Let me say experienced attackers at the U23 level that are also very dynamic. Looking at that age level, we have some players like who is it? I think Jeremy Abobase is age eligible. Some strikers would be like Mason Toy. Sebastian Soto's a striker. Some other wingers would be, I think Sato was called in last camp, which doesn't really excite me.
What was that player who was with the U.S.? Lewis? Was it Lewis?
Jonathan Lewis, yeah. That's another one that's, got some pace, but Uly's got pace and Uly's got skill and is scoring goals at a pretty good rate. Kind of like you said, Pat, if he's in good form, I think, he's a player that we should definitely be taking a look at the U23 level. And honestly, I hope he gets called up for their qualifying camp in March, because I think he just would bring a different dynamic to that front three and, his position out wide. I think, he's a player that really should be in consideration for that team, that U23 team.
We both agree on that, Austin. Really, really excited for him. So
we'll
see where that goes.
Yeah, definitely keep your eye out on Uly. I think he's gained a lot of interest over the past few weeks and months, and will continue to gain even more. So, with that being said, now let's head over to England and talk about our final player of the day, Pat. And who would that be?
And Austin, that is Antonee Robinson over in the championship with Wigan. So he played a full 90 in a crucial 1-0 clean sheet win against Nottingham Forest. So why I say that's crucial is because they're now in 18th and, still a few spots above that relegation zone where we find some other, unfortunately, young Americans abroad like CCV at Stoke having a rough time. But nonetheless, Antonee is certainly kind of proving his worth. I think 11 of the 12 games so far he's been starting. He's healthy, especially from last season, which was really rough, where he was out for, I think it was the bulk of the middle parts, almost like 70-75% of the season. So that kind of hurt him as well. And he's really putting some consistent performances together. Again, just to highlight some stats for you guys, he had about 66% passing accuracy. I think it was 64 touches, 9 duels won, and a few clearances, and 2 successful dribbles completed in the attack there. So again, he's doing the things that he's really good at. Another pacey, dynamic, outside left back there that can get up and cross and take players on one-on-one. Again, some of the inconsistencies I saw in some of the highlights were that he would go forward, beat a few guys, and then try to pass it, cut it back into the middle, and it was easily kind of read or intercepted. And he was eventually able to recover and stop some counters, but just some of those final balls or the final product he still needs to improve on. And then obviously his defensive marking and where he's going in that relation. But again, Austin, I think it's been a while since we've seen him. I think it's been just called up only one time to the U.S. national team in 2019, the senior team. So what do you think about Antonee Robinson's performances?
Yeah, and that was right before the Gold Cup, I think, in that weird was it Jamaica tune-up match?
Oof, yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Antonee, after making that permanent move to Wigan, is just getting more experience under his belt. He's still very young. Pat, I think he's still 21, right? He hasn't had a birthday yet.
Yeah, around that. Yeah, I think he's 21. Or I think he's 22 actually. Sorry.
22 now. Okay. Well, fair enough. But he's still age eligible again for the Olympics, and
that's right.
Is a player that's consistently getting minutes at the championship level. Like you said, Patty is in a fight, or his team's in a fight for, trying to stay out of the relegation zone. But at the same time, I think all those experiences that he's gaining are giving him, more information to build upon, more information to get better. And, ultimately, I think it'll help make him into a national team player. I think, his ceiling is, a player that should be with our national team, over the next few years. So
that's right.
What do you think? Obviously, we kind of value his skill set more than, the skill set of like Daniel Lovitz or, I don't want to say Sergino Dest, because when he played at left back, I think that was good to see, and I liked what he brought. But definitely someone like, Tim Ream, we value what Antonee Robinson can do a little bit more than that.
Right, yeah. And again, I think you bring up some great points because, again, maybe he's not the first choice, but he could certainly be in the mix and make a contribution to the team. And with his recent performances, I just don't, again, maybe we're a little biased, young Americans abroad, but Daniel Lovitz just doesn't, he seems almost like, I think we were talking about this off camera, like a safe choice, a safe bet, doesn't really offer anything going forward. He just looks kind of terrified almost in a way, and only plays maybe some back passes or simple passes to the old man in the mid, Michael Bradley. No shade to him, great player, but again, just doesn't seem to offer any creativity, especially in this game of modern fullbacks. Going forward and darting forward and combining in the flanks there, and
putting the defense on its heel.
Yeah. Just you don't really get any of that with Lovitz. And again, like you mentioned, Antonee has been mistake prone, and he's still a young player, but his ceiling, he could really, raise his game to another level, and especially going forward, he can offer something that especially Lovitz does not offer.
Yeah, and we haven't even really seen him with the U23s, so that's what kind of concerns me. I feel like he should be our starting left back at the U23 level.
That's pretty odd, isn't it?
Chris Gloster is a good player. Has his own flaws and is still working his game out. But we're talking about Antonee Robinson, a player who has at least a full season of championship minutes under his belt. I can't remember where he played 2 seasons ago, but that's a player that I guess he was at Bolton. But anyway, that's a player that has considerable pro experience already at the age of 22. So some of the things we've seen from him might not be, it makes me start to think about, the positions he's been put in. And if it's more just him being some of the issues he had when he was in camp, even with Dave Sargent, if it was more just the environment, the change in environment. I don't know. I'm starting to get off track, but
no, yeah, I definitely see your point there.
That's a player with the experience that he has. He should definitely be on the U23 team for qualifying. He should have been, a player that we're kind of looking at as a starter for that level, because I think he's, one of our top left backs at the moment, based on club experience and club performance solely. I think he's got to be one of the top left backs in our pool.
Right, and especially with the criteria, Austin, the criteria, you're playing the championship, you're starting consistently, you're definitely on a good trend, that seems to be all the ingredients for a call-up. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne Holmes can't even get a call-up, so, it's tough out there for an American abroad. What can I say?
Tough. It's tough in the championship.
Yeah. So with that being said, now let's head over to Quick Kicks.
All right, everybody, all you Ya fans, it's our favorite time of the show. It's none other than Quick Kicks.
So you can test Dwayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
And to start off Quick Kicks, we're going to head over to the English Championship, where Matt Miazga played the full 90 and actually got the game-winning goal in stoppage time and man of the match for Reading in their 1-0 win against Preston.
And moving over to Germany, Gio Reyna started and played 90 minutes, although it was in BVB U19's 4-0 loss to Schalke's U19s. So rough, youth Rivier derby over there in Germany.
That's certainly rough, Austin. And unfortunately, I can't replicate that amazing Italian accent, but Andrija Novakovich actually entered in the 67th minute in a 1-0 win against Livorno. So congrats to Andrija and the team.
And heading back to Germany, Julian Green started and played 90 minutes in first 2-0 win over Dynamo Dresden. So again, impressive play for Julian to start the season.
And back to the English Championship, Cameron Carter-Vickers started and played the full 90 for Stoke's much-needed 2-0 win against Fulham.
And heading over to the Hobros, we have Christian Cappis and Emmanuel Sabbi, who both started and played 90 minutes in Hobros' 1-0 loss to Horsens.
Gotta love the Hobros, Austin. And heading over to the PSV Eindhovens, which, again, probably won't say that again. But we have Chris Gloster, who actually started and played the full 90 and a 2-1 win against FC Eindhoven. And also want to mention Richy Ledezma played 74 minutes in that game. So great to see both of the youngsters playing for a young PSV there.
That's right. And heading back to Germany one more time, we have Travian Sousa, who actually got called up to Hamburg's first team and started in a friendly over the international break for them. So he looked good in this game. And after the game, their coach, Dieter Hecking, said that Travian will be part of the, first team plans for the, forthcoming future or, the time being. And, we could see him, make his 2 Bundesliga debuts soon. So something to keep your eye on. And, we're really excited to see what Travian can do. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel down below.
And also, don't forget to check out our awesome social media channels here. We have Twitter and Instagram, as usual, providing that great content and up-to-date and all the Yas, the young Yas, doing really well in Europe here.
That's right. And, this week was, jam-packed. We hope next week brings even better things. We have Tim Weah, who just got back on the pitch for Lille in training. So
that's awesome.
See him next week. Tyler Adams has been on the training pitch, so we hope we see him very soon. So, we're trying to we got some people coming back and some more talking points too. So, I feel like, Pat, we need some hope in this rough period. So
that's right, Austin, because we certainly, stooped down low. We were pretty low during that international break, but these performances this weekend, and along with a nice stretch of the season here, hopefully everyone can kind of regroup and rebound because we all have one goal in mind.
That's right. The storm clouds have to clear one day, because one day we will win the World Cup.